Forbidden Fruit tells the story of a cult that is run after hours in a mall at a retail store. Now, for this video, I went to the little storage closet in my house, searched through a box of my old Barbies to find my old Barbie that was in this movie. Does the Barbie in this movie look exactly like my Barbie doll here? Absolutely not. She can't even sit down, but she's the exact type of Barbie. So I thought I'd go ahead and get her out for the video, and she'll be hanging out back here for the remainder of the video. So let's go ahead and talk about Forbidden Fruits. Now, I am a fan of witch horror type movies. It's one of my favorite subgenres right now. And I was really looking forward to when I heard it was a witch horror movie. And then the trailer came on and I saw it. And I got a little less excited. I'm like, okay, I'm not quite feeling the trailer. I'm holding out hope because I really want to like this movie. And then I saw the movie. Now, when I first left the theater, I felt very mixed, like it wasn't quite for me. And as the days have passed, I like the movie a little bit more, but I still feel like this movie just isn't quite for me. I'm not the audience for this movie. There definitely will be a certain type of audience for this movie. I'm just not the audience for this movie, though I really wish I was, because I love witch horror. So let's go ahead and talk about the pros for Forbidden Fruits. The first pro I want to give it is I like the witch stuff in the movie. There's a line when one of the characters is talking to Apple and she is like questioning her, and Apple runs the cult, and witch cult, and she was like, oh, this is like Salem stuff, like it's like Salem stuff, and I'm like, okay, I like that kind of, I like it. And when you do get the witch stuff, I really like it. You don't get it often. I even like when you get to a certain fashion thing in the movie. It makes sense to the retail store, so I can have fun with that. I do like that. I like the mall location, how they utilize it. You feel like it really is a cult run after hours in a mall. It is shot in one location. Technically, you could argue the parking lot's one location, but I'm counting it as part of the location. So I do like the mall vibe. I like the vibe that they really do go for. I also kind of like the style of this movie, honestly. Now, it's not my favorite, but actually I've come around to it more as the days have passed. Going into the first mix is going to be the characters. Now, this has nothing to do with the acting, because I think acting-wise, they did a good job. I'm just very mixed on the character themselves, and we're going to get to a negative, but these are character types you definitely have seen before, but I just wasn't the biggest fan of the characters overall. And then there was some dialogue too that I can only describe as influencer talk. Now, when we go to the retail store, because it's like higher end hearing those prices, so it makes sense how they'd have influencer talk like in the store. But at times when talking to it just feels like talk you see on social media, and that didn't quite work for me in the movie. At some bits I'm like, okay, it makes sense in the store, but did not work for me the entirety of the film, and there are moments where it really does feel like it. And also the gore here. Do you get some good gore when you do get it? Because you don't get a lot either. Yeah, I think there's one where someone jumps, so that looks fine. But there's one kill that I don't want to spoil it, but I do think what they're going for works, except at the end you see a very, very obvious fake hand, so that kind of takes away some of it. And there's little things like that. They do like the blood splatter thing where it doesn't, not the biggest fan of that look either. So the gore is okay, but the after effect is really what kind of draws it out for me a little bit. Going on to the negative. The biggest negative, and this is such a nitpick, this is a nitpick here. How'd no one notice one very obvious thing? Again, I own one. So to me, it's just like, and at one point you actually see it and you're like, how would you not recognize that? Like, that's so obvious. Like, again, such a nitpick, but that is in here. Another one is gonna be the sister mixed with the trauma stuff with men in the movie, and that's such a weird way to describe it. I know. I get what they are going for, but the sisterhood doesn't bother me as much in the movie, but it's the how they incorporate with everything like that. Again, the trauma trope stuff is not the biggest fan of it in this movie. Could I see it working for some people? Yes. Did it work for me? No. No, it did not. Now let's talk about spoilers. First of all, Apple and Pumpkin are siblings. To be honest, when I watched the movie, I knew that Pumpkin was related to someone. I thought it was first gonna be the first girl that Apple like did something to. I'm like, okay, that's her sister, trying to figure out what happened to her sister, maybe in a psych ward. We meet her later. That's not true. And I was like, okay, she's the sister of the boyfriend, some distant family or something like that. No, she's Apple's sister, and now Apple's father abandoned Apple, and that is a core thing for the character, a lot of abandonment issues. So having them be related, I did like that aspect. I like that kind of reveal. I expected her to be related to someone. I did not think it would be Apple, to be quite honest with you at all. And again, this goes for the ending. Apple also does kill Pumpkin and survives, and goes towards the end of another store in another state for another free Eden store, and they have like flowers, so it's like a different kind of sisterhood cult. And the relationship shown mainly for the men. Now I 100% get what they are going for here. I'm not lost, but it just doesn't quite work for me. I don't know. There's something about it. Maybe in future watches it'll grow better if I choose to re-watch this, but I get what they're going for. And I think the one thing they do well, I like Fig's character, right? I have seen that in my own life, so I think they do well on that part. Personally, I do like how they deal with that part. But the ditzy character, not a fan of that. And she makes one speech and then another, I'm just like, don't like that. What I mean here is Cherry gives a speech to Pumpkin about how men view her. And I wish after that we saw more growth in the character, but we don't. That is just really bad phrasing, so editing me here is clarifying what I mean. So overall, this movie is a movie that isn't going to be for everyone. It is not personally for me. I'm not the main audience. I want to like this one. There are small things I like about this movie. I did like the witch stuff. I did like the location. I'm very mixed on the characters. I'm really negative on like one nitpick thing that I'm like, come on. And I just don't like how they interpreted this sisterhood with the men in trauma. Not a big fan of that. That could be my own movie taste as well in here, but not the biggest fan of that. But this is for the men. That one did have its moments where I'm like, I see what you're going for, but they didn't probably execute it all the entirely time. So comment down below if you've seen Forbidden Fruits. Is this a movie for you? Is this not for you? I could definitely see a certain audience for this movie, and if you're that audience, comment down below what you think of this movie and what makes you really like or dislike this movie. And she'll be put back in the box with the rest of the Barbies right after filming. I'll see you guys soon because we have a bunch of videos coming up in April, a lot of new releases. I'll see you guys there.